I work in the field of animation and 3D computer animations, and usually you work with figures or with characters because the viewer very soon has a relationship to a character. And that's not in my films because I like to work with the suspense of spaces. And because I'm very much interested in spaces, my own memory spaces or the spaces of my imagination. And so I use other means by transporting suspense. For example, light, shadow, different colors, different spaces, and the spaces always change, but I don't work with visible cuts. So I always have the change out of the scenery, the spatial changes, so you can never be sure where you are in my films and which room you are or what will be the next room or the next space. Yes, Contemplation is Watching is a poem by Robert Lex, who was one of the most important representatives of minimal poetry in the United States. And I have seen, it's very long ago, a video installation about him by artists in the Haus der Kunst in Munich. And I was absolutely thrilled by his kind of poetry, by his personality, by the living surrounding. He was living on a Greek island like an hermit. And he developed this vertical typeface for his kind of minimal poetry, because the less words you use, the more important the single word or the letter is. And I work with this typeface. I have put that into the third dimension. So the letters become spaces and places, and I circle around them with the camera. And so the typeface is not only the carrier of information, as writing is usually, but it's also the medium for my own thoughts, for my inner images that I have when I read the poems by Robert Lex. I'm a reader of literature. I like very much reading books because I'm really old school. I like the paper. And I like to read classic literature. And when I discovered the 3D computer software, because I was trained as an architect far, far away in the 80s, where you haven't been born. And so you even didn't know how to spell computer. So it was in the late 90s when I worked as an architect, I discovered 3D computer software, and that was a very good way for me to combine these two subjects I like most. That's literature and that's space. And the 3D computer software gave me the possibility to visualize my spatial ideas that I have when I read literature or when I read poems.